I hope that's given you a chance to have a discussion about what you might think social media has in a part to play for the future of coaching and mentoring. But let's have a look at a future scenario. So let's port ourselves into the future, and here's how a podcast might sound just a few years from now. And we start. Good morning and welcome to the 25th in our series of person-centered development podcasts. This week we feature a case study with a Brazilian entrepreneur in HR being mentored across the pond by one of our finest UK social learning advocates, and a discussion with a brand new train driver at a famous London-based rail company on how coaching has helped him move from station announcer to driver in just a few months, doubling his earning potential and increasing the flexibility of work he finds himself involved in each week. Firstly, let's hear the story of Karen, who has recently mentored Ed from Sao Paulo. Good morning, everyone, she says. I have a really interesting story to tell you about my mentoring experiences recently with a really fascinating startup innovator called Edson, or Ed, as he prefers to be known. He recently took on 110 people in the space of 3 months as his software support startup has gone from 5 South American clients to 90 in the US and Northern Europe. He put out a call on MentorNet, a social media platform for people willing to trade off their experiences. I've been on this platform for just over 15 months. I received 40 hours of mentoring from HR professionals and ex-chief executives when I was looking to build a brand new talent development program, and I needed coaching myself, and created a coaching culture at the heart of the program. I just completed my Association of Digital Coaches and Mentors qualification, which entitled me to post on this not-for-profit professional learning platform. Each time you post and share, you earn points from qualifying, case studies, and being active on the network, which is the only currency that people use. We literally trade time, insight, and experiences. It's brilliant. Anyway, the European Mentoring and Coaching Council, who set this up in 2013 and had the foresight to use social media to do so, using their intelligence engine, put me in touch with a really clever and innovative man called Ed in Brazil. And he'd posted a query asking for someone who had some insight into how he could utilize coaching and mentoring in his expansion strategy. So I started talking to Ed online, and we put together some social learning principles and provoked discussion about how this might work in a coaching environment. A bit of a joint hypothesis, if you will. We were delighted as once we'd posted the thoughts of ours, we had 200 responses from other people and some links to some great materials. And from that, we produced a report and a business case for Ed, and his investors took that and were really impressed and underwrote him, making a significant investment in digital and social tools for his expanding company. And as a result, I shared a lot of the information that we'd found through the talent development groups I belong to. It was a real social capital that we created. Ed's program was accredited with the Brazilian Academy of Digital Learning, and he managed to recruit his new team to work with him, all through LinkedIn's virtual assessment center tools. And his entire workforce was validated through some fabulous new online neuroscience and psychometric tools and apps, which he had them download and complete. So all the entrants who brought their own devices into the enterprise have been used to online, digital, and cloud-based interactions from the start, and Ed's capitalised on that. As a result of making some significant savings, Ed made a sizable donation to Wikipedia and Mozilla, and using the free infrastructure which is available out there, Ed thought he'd put something back, which was nice. He was featured in an online magazine. There were articles in Forbes and Huffington Post blogs. And Ed recently hosted a webinar for the South American People Power Forum in Lima. All this from one post on MentorNet and some collaborations with Karen. And they show how the power of that network and the sharing that's developed is a really productive and useful entity. I've been proud to be associated with Ed's work, and it's led to me speaking at the UK Government's Trade Symposium and to address the BRICS conference in Mexico City. I had my picture taken with US Secretary of State for Digital, Justin Timberlake, which trended on Twitter and even beat the Team GB efforts in the 2016 Olympics and Paralympics in Rio earlier that month. I've learned a lot about social and digital networking and coaching and mentoring support through MentorNet and through the interactions I've had with it, and I'm now included on Martha Lane Fox's UK board for Digi 2020, the online learning campaign. I was also given an honorary certificate in digital education through the INSEAD Plymouth University collaboration. I got to meet digital learning impresario Professor Steve Wheeler. I've now set up my own not-for-profit based learning foundation, and I was invited to a launch with the Duke of Cambridge as part of his Prince's Trust Digital Scholarship Programme. So digital learning and coaching and mentoring has really maximised my outlook on coaching and mentoring and interacting with people. And I think there's a number of opportunities for us to take advantage of digital and connect across the world to share the great learning that coaching and mentoring brings. So I'm grateful for the EMCC for providing that opportunity. What a lovely story that is from Karen. Anyway, we now move on to Leon, who's our train driver, and he shares a little of his online learning experience. And we've seen him move from a train station announcer to a train driver in just under 8 months. Hello, I'm Leon. I'm 24 and I live in Haringey. I've been working in rail since I left university when I couldn't get a position as a lawyer. So I carried on my summer work at the local station, and I spotted the augmented reality campaign for apprentice train drivers. I had to film myself as a YouTube clip, posted it to the extranet, and asked for a referee endorsements from colleagues, passengers and my tutors from university. I was delighted when I received a direct message through Twitter with the login details to complete my virtual assessment and assigning me with 2 mentors, an existing train driver and one of our learning coaches. I found the use of Skype calls, the online library of content on our Ning platform, the online gaming simulators and the debrief mentoring with the train drivers very useful. I felt I could operate a train without ever setting foot into the driver's cabin. Of course, I then had my local mentor sit with me in the cabin on several minor journeys. And when I replayed the CCTV footage and we reviewed it and we talked it through, it became clear what else I had to learn. I also signed on for the emergency scenario simulator, and I did all my reading from the apps provided by the company. Having it on your smartphone on journeys to and from home was very useful. I also spent some time with the train engineers in Germany via a web link, and I set up a session with my executive coach before I completed my online exam and assessment. I'm delighted to say I passed with flying colours. I beat the company's best score by 0.19 and headed up the online leaderboard for Trainee of the Year. And as a result, I managed to connect myself to several French and Belgian Eurostar drivers via the MentorNet. And through that, I gained deeper insight into many technical areas which allowed me to join the Drivers' Committee on Technical Safety, the only trainee driver ever to be elected onto that body. I gained my certificate to drive and was invited to become an apprentice driver mentor via a virtual meeting last week. I'm the only mentor with less than a year's actual driving experience. As a result of this, I was featured in an article in Mentor Online, which is an online publication from the legendary David Clutterbuck, and my mum and dad were really proud. Virtual coaching, distance mentoring, online learning, simulations, social networking with other train driving professionals has accelerated my learning. I've been the subject of a case study which concluded my learning was accelerated by 15 times by the use of digital learning, and I've been invited to join a study group with the British Institute of Digital Coaching. My information that I received through a virtual platform has really helped me establish myself as a bona fide train driver, and it would have taken me a lot longer to do that if the delivery was only face to face. Funnily enough, since my exposure, I've had 3 law firms ask me to join them since the publicity, but I've declined as I love what I do and I practice a little pro bono law in the community centre near the station. Well, there's 2 really impressive stories from Leon and Karen about how mentoring and coaching has been enabled through digital platforms and the online learning community which they're part of. This has been a EMCC podcast, and we're really happy to be sharing with you this kind of information. So we'd love to hear from some more stories of coaching and mentoring exploits, particularly through digital platforms. Next week, we're going to look at avatar-based virtual coaches. So stay connected. Thank you. So whilst that was a bit of a fake podcast, that shows you what could be the future of coaching and mentoring through a digital platform, and how podcasts may form another key part of social learning and sharing in a coaching and mentoring frame. So what could be the impact of social media then on coaching and mentoring, perhaps for the coach and the client? It's still early days, but there's some adoption that I've seen. Skype and video links and telecoms coaching are pretty much part of the modern way of coaching. What are the opportunities as I see them? Well, there could be avatars for virtual mentoring, which are artificially intelligence based and created through experiences that people share and codified and presented as an interactive Q&A. So the avatar is really built around information from existing coaches and is an animated expression of all that intelligence. We could find ourselves having top-up coaching in the moment using FaceTime, Twitter-like short messaging between the coach and the client, the coach and their supervisor. And blogs and wikis, I think, have a big part to play in coaching and mentoring for the sharing and the creation of collective wisdom and mentoring insight and model sharing. So I hope we can see more of that. For coaches and mentors themselves, virtual coaching academies where people could learn through recorded coaching sessions and distance-related assessments, where the virtual learning could be through recorded supervision, a great tool called Pamela which records Skype conversations. And app-based learning for coaching and mentoring content could form another key part of coaching and mentoring future using digital and social tools. And then there's the fantastic Khan Academy, which has a number of tools and techniques on it for a range of academic areas. And I can foresee coaches such as Nancy Klein, Darren Sherlaw, being able to digitize and share a lot of their wisdom. So I guess in closing, I hope you found the last few minutes stimulating despite my not being there. It is different, I know that and feel that. You could have engaged with me in a different way, however, as an alternative and a compromise and something quirky, maybe this does work. It's been a learning journey for me. I've been able to create some new skills in producing digital and online presentations. Given a larger budget, I might have turned in something that was a little bit more Pixar-esque, but I'm hoping that you've enjoyed doing it. I've enjoyed doing it this way, and I hope you've enjoyed hearing about it this way. So my closing thought is this. Coaching and mentoring and social media, they share the same DNA. People helping other people learn with a purpose. I think there's more to come from a closer relationship between coaches, their clients, and social media and digital learning. And I look forward to hearing from you all over the coming days and weeks about this. You can link in with me, read my blog as it's displayed on screen, and you can follow me on Twitter. I'd love to hear from you, and who knows, we might meet in person too to prove that I'm not some figment of imagination. Thanks for listening to me. Enjoy the festive season, and I hope you have a really great 2013. Thanks. And thank you, Sarah.